So at the end of a long, hard week, how do you de-stress? How do you relax? Do you ever sit there and think to yourself, how would be the easiest way to just let it all go? Leave it all behind, even for just a little bit. For this, I offer an answer. Try off-roading. I've spent the last 15 years of my life enjoying off-roading, and especially in the past 8. Over the years, I've grown to understand the way stress takes a toll on a person, and with everyday life, how hard it is to find a sense of accomplishment or even enjoyment going about life in the same old, as some people say. I've found, while I was in the Army, stationed 14 hours away from where I grew up, that the easiest way to do this was off-roading. To leave all the amenities behind and separate myself from the day-to-day world and to just relax and enjoy the peace and serenity of the outdoors. The fresh air, scenery, and most of all, the sense of accomplishment for overcoming every obstacle on a certain trail or a vehicle issue or anything like that. It brings a sense of relaxation and calmness. Off-roading isn't about destroying a truck or tearing up property. It's about testing equipment and even yourself in a controlled, safe environment. In overcoming an obstacle while off-roading, we can start to feel a sense of accomplishment and start to feel freed from the everyday monotony. Every time, at some point in time of somebody's life, we've all felt a sense of accomplishment. And there's always a sense of freedom at some point in time. Graduating high school, stuff like that. First vehicle. And as we get older, the day-to-day struggles start to bear down on us. We start to feel dragged in and we fall into a rut. The freedom and accomplishment that off-roading gives you is one and the same, relatable to everyday life. That the missed enjoyment from every single day monotony, the lack of instant gratification that we lose at a daily job, off-roading comes in and breaks that up. The time that one would spend away from the rest of the world is a good break. It gives somebody a chance to see life from a different perspective, if you would. Right here, this is a map of a normal off-roading trail. And as you see, all these marks are obstacles and identification numbers for the trails themselves. Just in life, we have one way in, and there's a set goal to where we want to leave. There are many paths to take, and each path holds certain obstacles that we must overcome. And this is what brings me to my next point. In off-roading, we find ourselves in front of an obstacle, and we approach it and decide which best way, easiest and safest, to overcome it. And even sometimes we need help. They're called spotters. They help guide us from a perspective that we can't see. Life is the same way. In life, you come to an obstacle, and we must slow down and figure out the safest, easiest, and sometimes even quickest way to overcome it. But we still need spotters, people for advice, experience. All this is one and the same. You start to see a sense of openness when you enjoy a different sense of life. When you start to live life through a problem solver's eyes, you start to understand that accomplishment can be more self-fulfilling than one would think. If you could grab life by the horns, so to speak, you can gain a sense of direction and control where you would least expect it. For example, two well-known off-road magazines is 4x4 Off-Road and Peterson's Off-Road. Both of the said magazines do a compilation. Each week, each issue, they do a compilation of, from beginners to expert, stories and senses of feeling and everything. And every time, in every article, it always goes back to accomplishment and struggle, overcoming obstacles, and every story is always directly related to a day-to-day sense of life. Now, in closing, I would like to get us to think. We've all felt a sense of accomplishment in some way in our life. It may not be every day that we get to fill the form that speaks the most to us. But if we learn to set aside everyday life and break away and find another sense of test, if you would, we could find accomplishment in other ways to let us enjoy and remember the feeling and the empowering effect that it has. The obstacles of off-roading help us build a sense of a type of self-esteem when it comes to how we feel in ourselves, how we can accomplish these life obstacles. And life is in itself the same thing when it comes to comparing the two. There's obstacles in both. You have one starting point and many paths to take to get to the one ending where we want to be. But it's all about how we take the paths that gets us to where we're going.